The story begins on planet Chi, a very small planet with an extremely low population. There we see a scientist named John working inside a hidden laboratory. Around the same time, his wife gives birth to a baby, but this is no ordinary child. This baby is actually an ultimate weapon born with astonishing superpowers. At that time, planet Chiton is ruled by a merciless dictator named Scorba. To end Scorba's tyranny, John creates this powerful child, hoping he will one day save their world. But Scorba finds out about the experiment and starts heading toward the lab. Before Scorba can reach there, John quickly places the baby inside a spacecraft and sends him to Earth. John believes that once the child grows up, he will return one day to defeat Scorba and protect everyone. When Scorbar arrives at the lab, he finds nothing. He questions John about the baby, but John refuses to say anything. That's when Scorba's daughter, Agatha, steps in and tells her father that she can help locate the child. However, Scorba trusts Agatha the least among all his children, so he doesn't believe her at first. Determined to prove herself, Agatha secretly uses her mind-reading powers on John and discovers the baby's exact location. Since Scorba desperately wants the child, he sends Agatha in a spaceship to Earth and tells her, "If you want to rule in my place one day, you must find that child and contact me immediately." Hearing this, Agatha is excited and leaves to complete her mission. Both spaceships were supposed to land in America, but due to a satellite collision, the baby's ship crashes in Spain while Agatha lands in America. We then see a quiet area in Spain where the baby's spaceship crashes. A couple named Maria and Juan Loopez witness the crash. Since they have no children of their own, they decide to adopt the baby. But this baby is clearly not normal. He's an alien. He already has a mustache, like an adult. Juan tries to cut it off, but within seconds it grows back. Still, they raise him with love and name him Juanito. As Juanito grows older, the Lopez family realizes he is extremely strong. When Juanito starts school, his powers and mustache make him different, and none of the kids want to be his friend. Everyone avoids him. On Juanito's birthday, he invites all his classmates to his party, but no one shows up. This leaves Juanito completely devastated. Juan and Maria explain to him that if he wants to live like a normal person and make friends, he must stop using his powers. Listening to his parents, Juanito decides to hide his abilities and grow up like a normal human. Years later, Juanito is now 30 years old. He has a job and lives away from his parents. His boss, Hemi, is also his close friend and often shares personal things with him. One day, Hemi tells Juanito that a girl is coming for a job interview, and he really likes her. Hemi wants to impress her during the interview, and Juanito agrees to help. The girl's name is Luisa. When she arrives, Juanito immediately recognizes her. They went to college together. Back then, Juanito secretly liked Luisa too. Luisa also recognizes Juanito as her old classmate. After the interview, Hemi hires her, and to celebrate, he throws a party. At the party, Hemi keeps trying to impress Luisa, but it only makes her uncomfortable. Eventually, she makes an excuse and leaves the party early. After Luisa leaves the party, Juanito follows her, and they meet at a subway station. Luisa invites him to have dinner together, and the two start spending some time alone. While they're eating, a group of street kids shows up and starts picking a fight with Juanito. Using a cheap trick, they knock him to the ground with just one finger. Juanito gets extremely angry, but he controls himself and refuses to use his powers. Instead, he walks away. Feeling defeated, Juanito sits alone at the subway station. Suddenly, a metro train loses its brakes and comes rushing through the station at full speed. The train is packed with passengers, and everyone's life is in danger. Without thinking twice, Juanito decides to act. Using his super speed, he races ahead of the train, trying to stop it, but he can't. So, at the final station, Juanito wraps a fire hose around two metal poles, creating a powerful elastic barrier. Instead of crashing into the wall, the train slams into the hose and finally comes to a stop. Juanito saves everyone's lives, but then he notices the security cameras. Quickly, he pulls on a cap to hide his face and escapes before anyone can identify him. In the next scene, we're shown the headquarters of Chet Technologies, an American electronics company. The woman who arrived in the spaceship years ago, Agatha, is now the owner of this company. Even after 30 years, she's still searching for the superchild she lost. The subway cameras in Spain belong to her company, and Agatha has secretly hacked all her own devices to track the ultimate weapon. When her clone robots report that a metro train was stopped and someone was moving at impossible speed, Agatha reads their minds and reviews the camera footage. She can't see Juanito's face, and this makes her furious. Agatha warns her clones, "We're about to face an ultimate weapon. Stay alert. Find him." The next day at the office, Juanito sees everyone watching the news. The headlines announce that a famous American businesswoman is coming to Spain. Agatha has finally found a lead on the ultimate weapon, Juanito. She publicly says she's coming to Spain to meet the mysterious hero who stopped the metro train. Juanito is shocked. He doesn't want to meet Agatha because he wants to keep his powers a secret. Before leaving for Spain, Agatha contacts her father, Scorba, but Scorba scolds her for wasting 30 years searching for the child. Agatha promises that she'll capture him soon, and then heads to Spain, ordering her team to find Juanito at any cost. Later, we see Juanito on a bus heading to meet Luisa for dinner. Suddenly, he starts hearing Agatha's voice inside his head, causing him intense pain. Using telepathy, Agatha speaks directly to Juanito. She doesn't know him personally, but her powers allow her to locate him anywhere. Agatha calls Juanito to meet her at her office. She wants to convince him to return with her to planet Chaitan. Unable to escape the voice in his head, Juanito finally goes to see her. There, Agatha reveals the truth. "You were not born on Earth. You came from planet Chaitan, and I'm here to take you back." Juanito refuses to believe her and rejects her offer. Agatha then reads his mind to understand why he wants to stay on Earth. That's when she discovers the truth. Juanito is in love with Luisa, and he can't leave her behind. Juanito escapes from Agatha's office and rushes to meet Luisa, who is waiting for him, but Agatha's human-like robots try to stop him. Juanito manages to outrun them and heads straight toward Luisa's house. Soon after, Agatha finds Luisa's card inside Juanito's jacket. It has both her home address and office location. Realizing Luisa is Juanito's weakness, Agatha decides to use her as bait. She plans to create a robot that looks exactly like Luisa, and for that, she needs Luisa's DNA. To collect Luisa's DNA, Agatha hacks the vacuum cleaner at Luisa's office and secretly uses it to gather a DNA sample. When the vacuum cleaner tries to send the DNA report to Luisa, Hemi notices it. The machine suddenly starts chasing Hemi, terrifying him. With the help of 2 office cleaners, Hemi finally smashes the vacuum cleaner to pieces, but by then, the DNA sample has already reached Agatha. Later, Juanito goes to Luisa's house, where he finds her drunk and furious with him for missing their dinner date. At first, she's angry, but as soon as she sees Juanito, her mood changes and she becomes romantic. Luisa tries to take him inside her house, but Juanito refuses. Instead, he kisses her and walks away. At that exact moment, Hemi arrives. He had come to warn Luisa about the stolen DNA, but now he sees Juanito and Luisa kissing. Hemi is devastated because he has feelings for Luisa. Suddenly, Agatha arrives in a car. She reads Hemi's mind and realizes how badly he wants Luisa. Agatha tells him, "If you want Luisa, you'll have to do something for me." We then see that Agatha has already created a robot that looks exactly like Luisa. The next day, Juanito returns to his village to confront his parents about his birth. After hearing Agatha's words, he wants the truth. Juanito and Maria take him to the garage and show him the spaceship that brought him to Earth. As soon as Juanito touches the ship, a hologram activates. In it, his real father, John, explains that conditions on planet Chon became unbearable, so he had no choice but to send Juanito away. John tells him that he was born with extraordinary powers, strong enough to survive anywhere. He also explains Scorba's tyranny and says, "We need you. You are our last hope. When you're ready, you can return using this ship." Inside the spaceship, Maria finds a super strong fabric and uses it to create a superhero suit for Juanito. After learning the truth about his origin, Juanito is overwhelmed. Jan also reveals that Juanito has the ability to fly. His parents encourage him to activate his flying powers and even ask him to jump from a building, but no matter how hard he tries, he fails to fly, which frustrates him deeply. Just then, some village kids arrive and start making fun of his outfit. Juanito gets angry and when one kid shows him the middle finger, Juanito instinctively raises his index finger and little finger in response. Suddenly, Juanito begins to levitate. That's when he realizes this is how he flies. Using his fingers, Juanito takes off into the sky. He flies far away, crashes into several places on the way back, but by the end, he finally masters his flying ability. When Juanito returns home, his parents help him wear normal clothes over the suit so he can reveal his superhero identity only when needed. While the family is talking, Agatha sends the Louisa lookalike robot to Juanito's house. She looks so real that no one suspects a thing. Juanito takes Louisa to his room, where Agatha, using the robot, tries to convince him to leave Earth and return to planet Chiton. But instead of listening, Juanito asks her about last night's kiss. Hearing this, Hemi, who is secretly listening with Agatha, grabs the microphone. Using the robot, he confronts Juanito and asks, "Why did you betray your friend?" Juanito becomes emotional. He admits that Hemi is his only friend and that betraying him fills him with guilt. Hearing Juanito's honesty, Hemi finally has a change of heart. He decides to stop helping Agatha. Agatha realizes that using Louisa's words won't be enough to control Juanito, so she gives a direct order to the Louisa robot. "Kill him!" The robot suddenly attacks Juanito. At first, Juanito is confused, unable to understand why Louisa would do this, but within moments, he realizes the truth. This isn't Louisa. Using his strength, Juanito strikes the robot and smashes its head, destroying it completely. At the same time, Hemi secretly calls Juanito and reveals Agatha's entire plan. He warns him that Agatha is planning to kidnap Louisa, and only Juanito can stop her. Hearing this, Juanito rushes to save Louisa. But meanwhile, Agatha reads Hemi's mind and discovers that he has betrayed her. Juanito calls Louisa to get her location and reaches her quickly. He tries to explain everything, the truth about Agatha, the robots, and his powers. But Louisa refuses to believe him. To prove himself, Juanito opens his clothes and shows her his superhero suit. Louisa thinks Juanito is lying and making up stories, just to break up with her, even calling himself an alien. Before Juanito can convince her, a group of people in costumes arrives and starts fighting Juanito, mistaking him for part of their act. In the chaos, Agatha kidnaps Louisa. Using telepathy, Agatha contacts Juanito and warns him, "If you want Louisa alive, come to my building." Juanito reaches Agatha's headquarters, where he finds Louisa and Hemi tied up. It's a trap designed to capture him. Agatha knows Juanito is vulnerable to high-frequency sound. As soon as he tries to rescue them, she activates massive speakers in the room. The sound overwhelms Juanito, leaving him powerless. Hemi believes that praising Juanito will boost his strength, so he starts encouraging him. But nothing works. Agatha successfully captures Juanito and calls her father, Scorba, to Earth. Then Hemi changes tactics. Instead of praise, he starts insulting Juanito, making him furious. And suddenly, it works. As Juanito's rage builds, his powers explode. Using his laser vision, he slices through the wall, escapes the trap, and rescues Louisa and Hemi. Together, they flee back to Juanito's village. When Scorba arrives on Earth and learns that Agatha has failed again, he explodes in anger and scolds her harshly. This pushes Agatha over the edge. Consumed by rage, Agatha disconnects Scorba's oxygen pipe, killing him. Having always wanted her father's throne, Agatha now takes his seat and declares herself the ruler. She heads straight to Juanito's village to capture him herself. Back in the village, Juanito decides he doesn't want to be a superhero anymore. He burns his suit, telling Louisa that if he stops using his powers, Agatha will leave them alone, but the suit doesn't burn. The fabric is indestructible. Suddenly, Agatha's massive ship lands nearby. She steps out and confronts Juanito. Juanito tells her he's tired of being hunted and refuses to leave Earth or go to any planet with her. Agatha coldly replies, "Then I'll destroy this entire planet and everyone you love." She presses a button on her throne, and it transforms into a giant combat robot. Juanito rushes back, tells everyone to evacuate, pulls his suit from the fire, and puts it on. Agatha controls the massive robot and charges toward him. Juanito's father fires at the robot to protect his son. Agatha shifts her focus and activates a vacuum system built into the robot's arm, pulling Juanito's father toward it. Juanito desperately tries to save him, but fails. His father is sucked into the machine. Fueled by pain and anger, Juanito launches a full assault on the giant robot, but none of his attacks work. With overwhelming force, Agatha strikes Juanito and throws him far away. Agatha turns toward Maria, Hemi, and Luisa, preparing to attack them. Terrified, they start running for their lives. Meanwhile, Juanito crashes into the middle of a football match. He grabs a large net from the field and throws it at the robot, but it misses. Instead, the net falls on Maria. Taking advantage of the moment, Agatha activates the vacuum system again and pulls Maria inside the robot. Juanito tries desperately to stop the robot, but Agatha stomps on him, crushing him under the robot's foot again and again. Just then, Luisa comes up with a plan. She tells Hemi to distract Agatha. Hemi tries to draw Agatha's attention, but she simply sucks him into the robot as well. That's when Luisa looks at Juanito and says, "Remember our first date?" She's referring to the trick those kids used to knock him down earlier. Luisa quickly parks her car near a swimming pool and walks away. Understanding the plan, Juanito punches the robot, pushing it toward the pool. The robot's leg hits the car, loses balance, and falls into the water. The water causes the giant machine to short-circuit, and it collapses. Juanito has finally defeated Agatha. From inside the broken machine, Juanito's parents, Maria and Juan, along with Hemi, all come out safely. Seeing them alive fills Juanito with relief and joy. Maria gently reminds Juanito that his real parents on planet Chan are still waiting for him. Juanito replies, "I'm not leaving Earth, but I'll make sure everything is under control." Juanito then sends Agatha back to planet Chiton in her own ship, along with a random man wearing a superhero costume. The people of Chiton mistake that man for their true savior. They celebrate him, and he ends up becoming their new leader. Back on Earth, Juanito marries Luisa and fully embraces his destiny as a hero. From that day on, the people of Earth give him a new name, Super Loopez. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.